Hey, y'all out there in YouTube world. This is your good buddy here over on the internet, YouTube world. It's the beginning, well, it's the end of the year, 2018, which, if you're somebody that's got any skin in the game as far as the stock market goes, you're probably thinking about how much you've lost as far as if you invested late on the bubble, because the bubble has popped, evidently. Um, the Treasury Secretary called a meeting together with the six major banks of the United States, and I guess supposedly what I hear is that they're putting together the plunge protection team, and they're going to do some prevention of too much of a downside. So what happens is panic selling. Of course, everybody's rushing in all at the same time to sell, 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 dump, 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 get rid of what they have and get into cash, because if they wait, then their investment keeps going down. So they want to get out quicker. The quicker they can get out, the sooner they get out of their positions, then they can hold themselves at a, they can be maintain their value of what they have in cash. And then once the market does reach equilibrium, which is most of the stocks, they will trade at fair market value. Um, which that's when that's when they think, okay, now it's calmed down. Now there's not so much panic in the market, and there's more, the people that have the shares now, they're just holding their position. They're not panicking and rushing to sell. They like the companies they own. They like that they're a good financially stable company that doesn't have a lot of debt, that has a good solid customer base, that in their product or their service is something that's useful for people, that that is in demand, and that the company is in a good position in the market. There's no reason why these companies are selling off. They are at market value, but there are companies, I'm sure you can find, that are undervalued right now. That means that their value, if they sold all their equipment and their holdings, their assets, then it would be the equal amount of value you have in the share of that company. That's the way I understand it. I'm not a financial advisor. I hope that you just see this as just somebody's opinion on the internet, and don't, use your own judgment, do due diligence for yourself, and really be careful what you do. I mean, I've made the beginning of this year, late spring, I got into the market as a hobby, meaning that I knew if whatever I put in, I could afford to lose that. That's the whole thing. If you can do that, then you won't be freaked out when you see your money disappearing. when if you see the value of what you have changing, that's what I should say. Your money only disappears if you sell. If you're in the market now and you're ready to sell, and you think you want to get out, and you've lost a good portion of your money, percentage wise, you've lost 15 to 20% of the value of your initial investment that you put in when you bought what you have now. Now, yeah, go ahead and sell if you want to do that. If you can't deal with losses, if you can't wait this out, or if you think it's just going to keep going down further, and there's no stopping it, it's just going to go down to just, it's got too much of room to go down more as far as those positions that you hold. If the positions you hold think they're all overvalued stocks, then you should sell right now. I mean, obviously. But if you're somebody that like bought these companies, and you like, okay, I worked at this company for 5 years, I worked there for 10 years, or I've done business with this company before, or I've known them, or I buy their services or use their products, and you believe that you want to own that. It's like you want to own if you want to collect antiques, or you want to have like a vintage Harley Davidson, or you want to own like valuable musical instruments, or you want to have like a piece of real estate. And when you go to buy it, of course, you're losing. You've just lost value because the person that sold it to you, they had to make a profit most of the time. So they make a profit and you take a loss, but your loss is not is your loss is just on paper. But in print, for yourself, for your own mental well-being, for your own vision of what you see the future to be, your prognostication of how you think things are going to work out in that industry or that business or that investment or whatever you're buying at the time, then you'll hold on to it. You'll say, well, I'll wait, I'm patient. I'm not in any, there's no really desperate need right now to have liquidity, because I have enough liquidity I have right now I can live off of and pay my bills with. Or I'm employed and I have a regular paycheck, and I'm not worried that I'm having to live off of these investments at the present time, right now, today, or the end of this year. So if you panic and then you sell, then you're going to take a loss, and you're just going to have to live with that. I mean, you might resent that. You might really resent your decision that you make in the future. You might hate yourself because you said to yourself, I'm going to sell, I'm in a panic, I have to get out right now, I'll cut my losses and live with it. But what happens in the future, that those shares that you're holding right now that you think are just going to keep going down, they'll grow in the future and they'll be worth more, and you'll miss out because it'll be too late. Because it's always like it happens too late, that you don't care if you're antique vintage Harley Davidson, if you can't go out and sell it right now and get exactly what you paid for it half a year ago. Or you have a collectible car that's like a sports car, or you might have a Ferrari or kind of a car like that, or a Carmen Ghia, or whatever car is an antique car, and you're like worrying about, oh, there's not going to be anybody to buy this car, no one will want it, I'll have to sell it at a loss. And you look at your car, you go out in your garage, you uncover it and you look at it and you start crying about it because it's not, you can't sell it right now today and get what you paid for it or get more. But chances are, if you're a reasonable kind of person that's got a hobby and that's willing to just like hold on to something and not worry about what it's worth today, right now, like you need the money right now. Well, if you need the money right now and you have to pay a bill, you got some issue, some big payments you got to make, or some debt that's been collected on, then yeah, you're going to have to sell. But for those who got in the market knowing, that had experience enough to know, well, things could go belly up, they could go down. Are you willing to wait it out? Is that what you bought really worth it to you? Right? Are you gonna sit through this and deal with it, and you might come out in the end, if you wait long enough, you will get a return on what you put in. Or it'll be like you'll like owning it. You'll like keeping up with the company, reading their news, going to keeping up on the industry, what's going on, and you're really interested in that kind of business or that product. Maybe you've worked at that company, or you work in that industry, or you have a monthly bill, or you have what you spend how you pay your bills, right? You pay for car insurance, right? So wouldn't it be kind of a different way of looking at it if you owned part of the company that was insuring you? What if you own part of that company, or shares in the company that was your auto insurance company, or your garbage collection service, right? So you buy shares in the company that you send your bill to, that collects your garbage, and you own part of that company, and they pay dividends because they can pay dividends because they have next to no debt, and their income, their profits that they make, you're getting a percentage of those by dividends. So they pay dividends. So you want a company that if you like their product or service and use it, then you own it. Your water company, who's your utility provider? Where do you buy all most of your groceries from? is there any kind of particular um, other service that you like? Maybe there's a product that's really good on the market. Maybe you bought the product, you use the product, and you like the product a lot, and it might be this really good TV, and it beats all the competition's TVs out because this TV is like really easy to use, and it's all web connected to all these different websites, and it has different services that it's a portal to, and it gets a really good picture, and it was really inexpensive TV, and it's like wow, I want to own that company. Or it might be like you want to invest in some kind of future scenario that you think is going to happen in the future. Let's say that there's more droughts, and there's more intense rainfall, and there's more really powerful hurricanes, and there's like seasons where there's so many tornadoes happening more, so many like windstorms happening. It's causing like damage to the farmers. They can't grow their crops because of the hail, or because it's raining really hard all the time. It's flooding. Or it might be that the farmers having to cut down all their orchards and trees because it's too dry. They don't have enough water to water the trees. So it might be that you see an outlook in the future. Use like, even if it's like there's going to be climate is going to change, and climate evidently it is changing for the worse. It is becoming less hospitable, and the habitats for the large animals and humans is changing on the surface of the earth because of the gases in the atmosphere. We're changing the atmosphere. Human beings are changing the composition of the gases in the atmosphere, and that's having an effect on the amount of radiative energy coming in from the sun. The radiative energy will normally reflect and radiate back and out into space, but the Earth's system is capturing more radiation globally. And that's affecting ocean temperatures and so on and so forth, affecting the weather. So if there's more droughts and water becomes expensive, it might be good to invest in companies that have something to do with like water management, or wastewater treatment. Or if you really believe that like solar energy is the future of electrical generating, of power to be generated electrically, and it's just a matter of having the right storage system developed along with that, because it's intermittent power. So in an intermittent power would need something like a reservoir that gets refilled, that could pump uphill. You have two reservoirs, a reservoir that's up and a reservoir that's downhill, and uses generation through water turbines, and it would actually regenerate. While there's excessive power, it uses the power to run pumps that pumps the water back up to the upper reservoir. And then when there's a demand, a load on the system, it can run the generators as well as the connected systems that's connected to, such as the wind farm or a solar facilities, or just a load on an excessive load, a peak of no demand on the electrical system. So if there's hardly anybody using it, and there's a lot of wind and a lot of sun, then they can take that extra power and they use it to pump the water up into the upper reservoir. And then when there's no wind, or it's at night and there's no wind, and there's peak demand, then they can run the water through the turbines and generate electricity from flow of the water from the upper reservoir to the lower reservoir. And they've tried this in the Canary Islands. If you look it up, you'll see a system about that. So there's ways of investing your money, and your hard-earned money is your time that you spent in your life working in a job you probably don't like most of the time that you deal with. So you're going to take your time, that you're going to use that time as a way of investing in yourself, so that you'll be able to pay your bills in your future when you're not able to work. So this is like, now what I've done is I had a 401k plan, and I didn't like the funds that was available in the plan, so I set aside a designated. It was only allowed a certain percent, 25% of my biweekly contribution, that was transferred into a brokerage account. And so I was using that brokerage account, and I started out buying mutual funds, and I was trying to find mutual funds that were cruelty free, and I was looking into like socially responsible investing, because I didn't want my money to be invested in companies that like made alcohol. I didn't want to invest my companies in anything that was meat related or like factory farming, or anything that had to do with like nuclear weapons or anything like that. I wanted my money to go into companies that were very benign companies, like fruit orchards, water companies, um, rice companies, food companies, like I'm not going to name any names, but you could figure it out. Like figure out companies that were like fruit or vegetable related, that weren't in animal products, and like companies that are like that for wastewater treatment. You know, when your sewage goes out, they have to treat that wastewater, and they can recycle that, or they can provide a service, and then that's what you could get dividends from those kinds of companies, because they have a regular customer base, and that regular customer base is a constant stream of income. It's just not people want to buy something and then there's a demand for it. It's people continuously have to have it, such as utilities like electrical power, of course. Now, those that's you have to think about, are they using a lot of coal to generate the electricity from, or are they using a lot of wind and solar? So that's what I was trying to go for, was funds that were specifically that had their holdings in companies that were related to those industries. And honestly, up until now, I'm about I think I'm 18% down in my initial investments, because in my earlier investments started in 2009-10, which was in the mutual funds, the socially responsible investing. Those are not as down as much. They're still holding a profit in them. The stocks that I've gone down in value that I've owned, fruit, a canning company. I won't name any names. Um, I've lost almost 50. I'm down. I shouldn't say lost, right? That's not good to say that. I should say I'm down in the value of that of almost 50% of what I paid for it. So if I were to sell it today, I'd only get about a little more than half of what I paid for it. But from my initial thought about getting into that has been, okay, that I'm holding on to this for a long time because I like the company, I like their products, I use their products. Um, Another one was a product they made, like personal care items where they don't use animal testing, like soaps and shampoos, and also they do some food items that are like vegan related foods. Yeah, I'm thinking about investing and how that money affects how you spend your money, and what are the results of that? What are the consequences of an investment that you make? Is it consequences of how you invest your money? Is it going to eventually hurt people and hurt animals and society and damage the planet, or is how you're going to invest your money going to help better civilization? It's going to improve the conditions, the life, the quality of life for most of the people and animals on the planet. How is that going to be the outcome of your investment? And that's primary for me personally. That's primary. Secondary is making a profit. Now, if you're just profit motivated person, you don't care about the industry. You don't care about you're just gonna like do whatever you can do as long as it's legal, and do what you can do to make money for yourself. So I'm not the right person you should be watching, because I'm not going to really help you in that area. I'm not going to. What I say on this video won't benefit you at all. The people I'm interested in talking to are people that have a conscience, that have a lot of, that deeply reflect upon how they live and how their lifestyle affects other people and other creatures around them. How repercussions carry through into the future. These people are concerned about how the decisions that I'm making are, how are they affecting the world and the earth? How are my decisions that I'm making day to day affecting other people around me? Is my focus and my goal in life is to become a better person and to live a better life and to have a better impact in a positive way on the world around me. So that's where I'm coming from. So I just thought I'd talk to you for a few moments because it's just hard for me. I'm not here by myself. My wife, she sleeps most of the time. I'm here, and we kind of had an argument last night. I got mad, and I just was like just being an asshole to her, and yeah, it's this time of year, you know. And I don't travel. I stay home when I have time off. When I take vacation time, I just stay in my house. I go grocery shopping. I stay home with my cats and my wife, watch movies and YouTube, and that's why I'm kind of making this video, because I know maybe other people like me, you know, and I don't realize that. So, because I watch other people and I like them, and I go, wow, I'd like to know this person. I wish this person like lived down the road from me or was lived in the same town. We could go get together, have coffee together, chat, or just do like go hiking or go bowling or something like, and have some kind of any kind of social life. But I'm kind of in a place here where it's, if you like guns, fireworks, fast cars, and motorcycles, and you like to go out hunting and fishing, and you're into like, you know, country music and like watching football and having barbecues, and this is a really good place for you to live. Well, you'd have no problem at all making friends right away. Everybody would like you. You'd be like in the in crowd here where I live at. So, but me, I'm like, you know, I'm vegan and I'm like a Buddhist philosophy, and I think about things like antinatalism and ethylism, and I don't eat any animal products. I'm really actually pretty serious about that at this point in my life. Um, and you know, so this is the end of 2018. It's December 25th, Christmas Day, and I'm making a vlog. So yeah, I'm gonna end this now. But you may see me in the future.